When you're riding these back roads, what they teach you in the class is when you're going around turns that you're not dragging knees, you're not laying off the side of the bike, you're actually pressing. And it's almost like if you ever watch some kind of road course racing or NASCAR racing, any kind of motorsports race is predominantly, you know, whenever I was growing up, just with cars, you get on this outer lane, and then as you start to go around the corner, you want to hit the apex. The apex is kind of the top of the turn, and then you kind of come out of it. And you do that really easy just by pressing down, or pressing to the side, left or right. I shouldn't say press down. And when you're going around these turns, you want to always make sure that you're looking up, because where you look is where you're going to go. If I look down, in fact, if I look down 5-10 feet in front of me, I'm not looking ahead and seeing if there's any possible danger that's taking place. Now, depending on how comfortable you are on these two-way roads, if you're a beginner rider, my suggestion would be to ride somewhere in here on the straightaways. And don't get too close to the apex when you're coming around the corners. Like, I'm looking up, I notice that there aren't any cars there. If I'm a beginner rider, maybe I practice, but then I go, oh crap, here comes an 18-wheeler. And I'm going straight over here to this particular position of the lane. I notice I'm about to go to the left, so I hit this right side of the lane here. And I just kind of gently just get close to the apex, is that top of the turn. We're already in position to do the same thing here. Now, of course, this isn't, now I want to show you what I just did there. Getting on that line is paint. And paint is not traction. It's less traction than what the road is going to provide. So be really careful doing that. I do it every once in a while. You're not going to completely have the bike go out from underneath you, but I'm just talking about, you know, if it were raining or something like that. Now, I will tell you, we're doing 70 miles an hour on this back road, and I'm sure the speed limit's probably 55 or 60. If at any point you're nervous about going around a turn and you don't want to do these apex turns, slow down. But don't slow down. Don't slow down in the middle of the turn. Because what it'll do is it decrease, whenever you're turning, your contact patch, the amount of the tire touching the road, starts to decrease. And if you slow down, it could potentially lose traction. I don't know exactly what the technical aspect of it is, but that's just what they've taught us in the course. And so I may not necessarily accelerate through the turns. They kind of tell you to accelerate just a little bit. I'm sure that acceleration forces the bike down, which gives you more of a contact patch. But like, for example, I see this as, you know, I'm a beginner rider and I'm nervous as heck. I'm scared to death. The speed limit's 60. I'm doing 58 miles an hour right now. I see oncoming traffic. I don't have to hit that apex. I can just kind of just barely go around that turn. Catch up a little bit here. Now when you're doing this, when you're pressing through, I like to bring my left leg up when I'm pushing to the right. That's just something I do. They didn't tell me to do that in the course. So when I go around the left here, I'm going to press my right leg up. It's just, and I tuck it kind of into my stomach, my knee into my stomach, and it allows me to, that's just something that I do. I don't know, I don't recommend that for you, because I don't know how you ride, but for me, I notice that I can press a little bit easier. I will tell you, and if you know anything about counter steering, for those of you that drift, when you're pressing, you're almost counter steering that front wheel, because right here, when I press to the right, when I press down onto the right, it's almost like that front wheel is, you can kind of imagine it kind of getting pushed to the other direction a little bit. And of course, I'm being a little over dramatic in the description here. We're probably talking about millimeters here that it does that, if even that. But they say it's some form of counter steering to a certain degree, and you know, I get that, depending on how visual or you know what your experience is with motorsports. Scared him. Don't do that. But anyway, these back roads, you got to be careful, just like we saw that dog. We're talking about farm animals, wildlife, road debris, mechanical malfunctions with your vehicle or theirs. Now they tell you never to run staggered when you're with a bunch of motorcycles, but I'll be honest with you, I'll stagger a little bit just so I can see. Plus I'm already set up, look far ahead in advance to see that we're going to be turning to the left. Always keep that head up, and if you're ever in doubt, slow down before you get into the turn, and then just gently kind of accelerate through, but make sure you're pressing through and don't look down. If you're looking down to where the apex is, chances are you will overrun that turn, and then you're going to end up either having to overcompensate or you're going to be out in the ditch somewhere. I've done it. I haven't physically gone into a ditch, but I've gone around a turn a little too fast, and I was looking down like this, and the next thing I know, I looked up and the turn was continuing, and it put me way out like this, and I was like, whoa, and then you have to overcompensate at the end. So we're just driving through here, beautiful day. So the main thing is just making sure that your speed, that's the main thing. Is they say speed kills, you know, and look ahead. I mean, it's hard to tell right now. You know, I have a clear visor on, and you know, I'm getting a glare off of the vehicles in front of us. But look ahead, like that car's starting to brake. He's braking around the turn. If you have to brake around a corner, around a turn, and it's pretty sharp, what I do is I try to get out of the apex. I'll try to maintain a straight line, because I don't want to slow down while I'm turning and then lose that contact patch. And you know, that turn, like that turn that we just went through is so, it's not that curvy to where we were able to slow down and lose that contact patch. We're talking about a turn that maybe is a pretty good, it's got a good twist to it, and you're gonna have to press pretty good and get into it if you're, you know, doing 55, 60 miles an hour, something like that maybe. But like a turn like this, if I were to decelerate, I'm not gonna lose that contact patch. We're, you know, again, we're talking about those corners that require you to get set up based upon a certain speed that you've selected, and entering that turn is going to require you to go ahead and press through and accelerate through it. You know, again, something like this, if I were to decelerate, what we do, it's not going to do anything. You know, so maybe we can find one of those turns I'm talking about up here. Whoa, you got to watch out for those babies. I will tell you, the acceleration on this motorcycle seems like it's not as great as the Suzuki's. I mean, that was a 6-gear. You know, I've been doing 6-gear pulls here, and I just remember, you know, I rode my Y750 home from the dealership a month ago, and that sucker was pulling in 6 gear. And yeah, there's a total difference, you know, maybe about 50, 60 horsepower. I don't know what they have, what these 1-liter bikes have now, 170, 180. I'm clueless on that. But it just seems like this R1 just doesn't. I mean, it'll go, but it just doesn't like pull you all the way through. It takes it a little bit to get going. Now, granted, I'm running right now. Now, here's a turn I'm talking about. We're running 70, 75, 76, and I'm already in it right now. I don't want to slow down. I'm going to keep accelerating. I'm probably a little too close, and I'm going to run out. Again, I would not recommend you riding like this. This is something you don't want to do. If you're, I wouldn't even do it, period. But I'm just showing you as an example here. Yay, we lived. I can put the video on YouTube, and I'll never do it again, I promise. So I'm setting up for this turn here. I'm going to press. Now, another thing, you see that rock driveway. Now, what rocks can do is, if you see those rock driveways like that, they can get scattered out in the middle of the road, and then when you start to go around a turn and you hit a few of those and they get underneath that contact patch, they could potentially hurt you. So that's something else that I always kind of look to as well. I'm going through. I'm going to get out of the apex. Again, we're running almost 80 miles an hour on these back roads. Maintain a speed that you're comfortable with. If you start to get nervous at any point before you get to that turn, slow down. You'll see here I got to press. Stay in it, stay in it, stay in it, right? Don't get out of it. If worse comes to worse, yeah, I mean, if your life depends on it and you need to get up out of it and hit the ditch, fine, you know, but you have to understand, if that were to take place, it's not going to feel good. Again, maintain a speed that you're comfortable with. Let's rock and roll. Let's see if he's going to pass this guy. Come on, Michael. You probably got it pegged out. Can I go? Let's go. There we go. 120, 130, 140. Oh! My helmet is about to come off there. Not really, but it was screaming now.